during every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a story that's sending shockwaves across the globe. Donald Trump's 2025 deportation plans and international trade regulations, with a special focus on their impact on Africa and African citizens. As we enter the second week of Donald Trump's unexpected return to the White House, the world is watching with bated breath as he rolls out a series of executive orders that promise to reshape America's immigration landscape. But make no mistake, the ripple effects of these policies will be felt far beyond US borders, particularly in Africa. Trump has wasted no time in declaring what he calls the largest deportation program in American history. Within days of taking office, he's already set the wheels in motion for a massive crackdown on undocumented immigrants. But here's where it gets truly alarming. The scope of these deportations is unprecedented. Imagine this: military cargo planes, once used for humanitarian aid, now repurposed as deportation flights. It's not science fiction, it's happening right now. Trump has authorized the use of military aircraft to deport over 5,000 individuals apprehended by Border Patrol in San Diego and El Paso, Texas. But it doesn't stop there. The administration has broadened the reach of what's known as expedited removal. Previously, this fast-track deportation process was limited to areas within 100 miles of US borders. Now, it applies nationwide. Any undocumented immigrant who can't prove they've been in the US for over 2 years could be deported without ever seeing an immigration judge. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Africa? Everything. African immigrants, both documented and undocumented, are squarely in the crosshairs of these policies. Consider this: there are an estimated 2.1 million African immigrants in the United States. Many of them could now find themselves at risk of sudden deportation, torn away from the lives they've built, often over decades. But it's not just about those already in the US. Trump's policies are slamming the door shut on future African immigrants too. He suspended the refugee resettlement program indefinitely, a move that disproportionately affects African nations grappling with conflict and climate crises. Now, let's shift gears to the economic front, because Trump's America First policy isn't just about immigration. It's about reshaping global trade, and Africa is target in the crossfire. Trump has threatened to impose a universal 10-20% tariff on all imports. Think about that for a moment. For African nations relying on exports to the US, this could be catastrophic. But it gets worse. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, which gives exports from over 30 African countries duty-free access to the US market, is set to expire in September 2025. With Trump at the helm, its renewal is far from certain. This could devastate African economies that have come to rely on this trade lifeline. But perhaps the most chilling development came just yesterday, when Colombia refused to accept two U.S. deportation flights. Trump's response was swift and severe. He immediately slapped a 25% tariff on all Colombian imports, threatening to raise it to 50% within a week. This sets a dangerous precedent. African nations that resist Trump's deportation efforts could face similar economic retaliation. It's a stark choice: accept deportees or face crippling tariffs. Behind these policies and numbers are real people, real lives, families torn apart, dreams shattered, economies destabilized. The human cost of these policies is immeasurable. Imagine a Ghanaian student excelling in her studies suddenly facing deportation because she can't prove she's been in the US for over 2 years, or a Kenyan entrepreneur building a thriving business now watching it crumble under the weight of new tariffs. As we look to the future, the outlook is uncertain. Will other nations follow Colombia's lead and resist these deportation efforts? How will African economies adapt to this new trade landscape? And what of the millions of African immigrants in the US now living in fear of a knock on the door? One thing is clear: the world is changing, and Africa is at the center of this geopolitical storm. As always, we'll be here bringing you the latest developments and analysis, reminding you to stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, in our interconnected world, what happens on one continent affects us all. Until next time, keep watching. Please subscribe and like for more content.